The analysis, the interviews, the findings, the details, the actions, the argument, the hot seat. Only on one show, The Roundtable. Join Dimeji Daniels on Adaba 88.9 FM every Mondays between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. as he tackles matters arising in the news and political space with his prolific guests discussing issues of politics and current affairs. The Roundtable with Dimeji Daniels. Let the conversation begin.
From the studios of Adaba 89 FM, good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of The Roundtable. My name is Dimeji Daniels, and on the program this afternoon, I've been joined by one of the governorship candidates in the October 10 governorship election in Ondo State. He is the candidate of the African Democratic Congress, that is the ADC, and he is from Ijebu, I open right. His name is Prince Dapo Adelegan. African Democratic Congress, in case you do not know, their logo is a handshake. So this afternoon we'll be talking about his chances of winning the election, his campaign promises, his antecedents, and some other questions in the course of the program. So let me welcome you, President Adelegan.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's begin by asking you at some point, because I've been meaning to, sit down with you and ask you this, because I remember at some point you were here on air at the BFM, and you were at that point you were a member of the APC, and then all of a sudden we saw you in ADC. What happened? Why did you change your political parties?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's part of the political process for any determined politician with a program and an agenda to seek for a platform under which he can, achieve that objective. I joined the APC. I joined the Unity Forum of the APC, and the whole story, I was in the studio once to discuss some of those issues, and we fought hard for a direct primaries, which had gone in Edo and Kogi, and we wanted the same thing in Ondo State. But when the party, in its wisdom, decided to settle for indirect primaries, it was clear to me, at least my group, that they had given a carte blanche to the governor. Because the indirect primary is basically a platform for the governor to use the structures, both at the state level, at the ward level, and as well as the local government levels. So we then began to realize the fact that it's really interesting. Out of the 10 or 11 of us, I'm the only one with a ticket of a party. So we could have easily remained in APC and hope for some form of accommodation, but we felt that our program ideas needs to be heard by our people without prejudice to the current government. That every 4 years it is the inalienable right of the people to examine the performance of the government and listen to other contending forces and perspective about governance in Ondo State and take their choice. So we wanted to give our people that opportunity to hear our own narrative, to hear our transformative concept for the economy of the state, our social welfare program, and we couldn't have done that without having a platform that will give us a ticket.
What would you then say to people who say that you're just like the politicians who see political parties as a vehicle, and if they cannot have their way, they'll do everything to have their way?
Well, they're right and they're wrong, because the truth of the matter is that even the president of the country...
Because some people say it does not make you look like a team player.
Even the president of the country had gone to 4 parties before he emerged as the candidate of the APC. It doesn't really matter. If you are a candidate with a conviction, and my conviction is the transformation of the economy of Ondo State.
You mentioned Buhari. Please let's get back to that. He was an EMPP, and then he formed...
Before
CPC.
Before AMPP, there was APP.
Yeah, he formed CPC.
I said before AMPP, there was APP, APMPC, CPC.
He formed CPC.
No, the question is, I'm just saying that political platform for a person that is determined to have a program is essential. Where you are in political party A and you are denied that opportunity, you need to find another platform. The bottom line is this. So
you did not see the APC as that platform?
No, because the truth of the matter is that I was new to the APC.
Okay.
I was just 6 months in the APC. I joined because I wanted a voice. I had a program for Ondo State. And it was clear to me that once the indirect primary was availed to the state, the governor has the yam and the knife. There was nothing you could do. So if I was not convinced about my program and my agenda for the state, I'll file behind him. But I was convinced only one voice can speak on board party. He is the governor. He's going to be the candidate of the party. I wanted to be a candidate, not for personal aggrandizement, but because I wanted our people to have an alternative. I wanted them to hear about our economic opportunities and possibilities, and I wanted to talk about it. So, and I thank God for that, for the ADC to give me that platform. And now I am shouting from the rooftop, telling people about the fact that we are the richest state in the country, we are punching below our weight, we need to put people that can manage and transform our economy, because there's no polity without an economy.
We'll get to that part.
Yes.
But your party, the ADC, is little known. I'm sure that there are people in Ondo State who are not even familiar with the logo of your party. How do you hope to make ADC a household name?
The Labour Party was not known when Dr. Olusegun Mimiko became the governor of Ondo State.
Mimiko, in Mimiko's case, he had been a minister, he had been SSG, he had been a commissioner.
You're talking about the party. Let me answer the party.
Because you mentioned Mimiko.
You talk about the party.
Okay.
The party was a non-starter. So this election is not going to be about party, it's the personality. I have been in business for 33 years.
But the people need to know your party to vote for you.
No.
They need to be familiar with the logo of your party.
I'm saying this election is not going to be about the party. It's about the personality. But those people, what are the parties? The parties that are leading PDP, APC, what have they done for Ondo State? It's about party and existential.
Let's break it down. Let's say I wanted to vote for you. I wanted to vote for Prince Adelegan, candidate of the ADC. And I go to my polling unit on the day of election.
Yes.
And I want to vote for you. And I'm not even familiar. Yeah, I don't even know the party or the logo of the party I belong to.
It is not absolutely.
That was my question.
ADC is very known in 18 local governments of the state.
And you have structures.
ADC, before I came into ADC, it even has an MHR, Ondo East, Ondo West, in the House of Representatives. In the last election, ADC won in many council elections, even a local government in Akoko. But you do not fight a ruling party when you're doing local government election. It has never been done before. You allow them because they're the ones that has the yam and the knife. But the mere fact that ADC was able to produce councillors across the length and breadth of this, and even the local government, in spite of the result that was declared at the end of the day, shows that for once, people are ready for change. They want a new narrative.
So you're saying...
the ADC is a party on the ground across the length and breadth.
I say you have structures everywhere in Ondo State.
And like I said, it is not ADC members alone that would vote in this election for their candidate. There will be APC that will not vote for APC. There will be PDP that will not vote for PDP.
That's true, but they have to be familiar with.
They are familiar
with your platform.
Everybody in this state knows what ADC is. It's one of the biggest parties in this state after the first two.
How does it make you feel when you hear narratives, especially in the media, when people say in this election there are 3 leading political parties, 3 leading candidates, and they don't measure? How does that make you feel?
It doesn't make me feel anything. My interest is the people of Ondo State. I'm on radio almost every fortnight. My voice is heard. The things I'm talking about, nobody's talking about them.
And do you think your message is resonating with people?
What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
No, this election is not about noise making. It's about door-to-door canvassing and telling our people that they need to vote for their future. It's about the programs to revive our economy, to provide employment, to provide jobs.
How well are they receiving your message?
Let's wait till the election day. When the election day comes, you will see the result. At least it is the national body that will conduct that election. And we believe that they will play fairly.
So you're saying you're going to win?
I'm not saying that. God knows the governor of Ondo State. But the people of our state have the inalienable right every 4 years to listen to every tendency, to live into every perspective, apart from that of the current governor, to be able to make a choice. The outcome of this election is the outcome of Ondo State. If people deserve a government that they have, it's your choice. But we will present ourselves. We will present our program.
What are your programs?
Look, many things that we intend to do if God gives us the governorship election.
In the course of the program, I'm going to break it down.
But the fundamental summary of everything we want to do in Ondo State is to transform our economy. Okay. We're the richest state in the country, but we're the poorest. We are one of the poorest states in terms of...
Why do you think that has been?
Well, without prejudice to the efforts of past governments, even the current government, without prejudice to the effort, we are in extraordinary times. The global economy is in shambles. The COVID-19 has even brought to bear pressures on economic development, investment, and employment. So we're really in a very existential situation. And therefore, because of the extraordinary nature of the society as of today, of the world, we need extraordinary skills. And those skills have to be economic management skills. And if any state look, somebody told me that one of the benefits of COVID-19 is the fact that money will dry up from the center very soon to the states. So the state must put forward its best people with the capability, with the knowledge, with the network, with the understanding of global economics that can market and package and market our potentials for investment, generate those investments, and transform the society. Any state without an economy does not even have politics. Because politics comes right from the Greek word polis, is the people. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. If the people do not have industries and they cannot be employed and cannot generate income, where does the government have money to serve social welfare? Where does it get its tax from? When nothing will be coming from the federal government. As of recently, I heard on social media that even the governor said in a couple of months from now, he may not be able to pay the salaries because of dwindling IGR.
Did you hear that from him?
I said I had from social media.
But an allegation.
And even if you didn't say that,
not be true.
That's the reality is that we are struggling to pay salaries.
Now, do you subscribe to the position of former Deputy Senate President A.K. Kirimadu when he said Nigeria practices what he calls feeding board to federalism, where state governors go camping and to Abuja for allocation, and that this has been responsible for inability of many state governors to be innovative about creating wealth in their states.
Look, the reality is this: whoever comes up to say I want to be governor must possess the capacity, the competence, and compassion to dimension the realities of the economy of that state and transform it and build it. I've said the COVID-19 is now the time that will compel governors who are capable to step forward. We have to transform it. We can't give excuses that there's no money from Abuja or there's no money in the state. You must be prepared. You must have the policy. You must be able to attract the best people in the state to come and assist you in dimensioning and transforming the economy. Because the business of being a governor is to provide for the people. The basics, there's no excuse.
So you think at the moment that has not been done in the state?
No. At the moment, a lot has been done. But like I said, the extraordinary situation we're in is not for normal. These are abnormal times. These are times when I told you, global economy, Nigerian economy is shrinking by 45%.
Yeah, that's true.
The dollar and the naira is depleting on a daily basis. The cost of importation is very high. There are no jobs. Insecurity is rising.
At a time like this, and what you've said, with the potentials that Ondo State has, what do you think that magic wand is to turn around the fortunes of Ondo State?
The first thing to do is to allow capacity, competence, and compassion to step forward as a governor. If you are in a coma, nobody talks about what diet you're going to call the surgeon. There must be radical surgery. And that means knowledge must be at the forefront. And that knowledge must have the capacity, the understanding of global economics, the contact, the network, the ability, the things that we want to do for Ondo State, wherever we've gone to present it. They tell us that they've never had it before. People don't even know as rich as we are, even by geography alone, not even natural and human resources. So the reality is not about me, about anybody. It's not about the issue. It's about the lives is the future of our children. Who amongst all of us has the requisite experience, the requisite exposure, the requisite capacity to transform and take advantage of our geographical advantage, our natural resources, our human capital, to globalize it. California was a state in America. When in the 70s, he said, we are the 7th largest economy in the world. It is still a state in America. It is now the 5th largest economy in the world. We can be a state in Nigeria and be the 1st economy in Africa. It's about packaging. It's about marketing. It's about transformation. It's about understanding and capacity and then compassion to ensure that all policies that we're going to do is anchored on compassion for the people. I was going to news BBC this morning before I left home. The Prime Minister is talking about GCE exams of students. That is how important the lives of the people are to the top echelon of governance. So the reality is that the choice that confronts our people is simple. It's a choice between capacity, competence, and compassion, and business as
From
usual.
what you've seen so far, not just in Ondo State, but in Nigeria, especially at every election cycle,
Yes.
Do you think the people focus as they should do on the specifics?
Somebody has accused our political class of impoverishing our people to the extent that they don't ask again for development, they ask for money.
Was it just about the politicians or the people themselves?
No. Look, the question is always asked, which comes before the other, the chicken or the egg? Was it the chicken that was first created before you had the egg, or the egg came to be able to produce the chicken? It is a discussion and debate that will go on forever. But in other climes of the world, the government provides preemptively for the people. There is a bus every bus stop in England every day except Christmas Day. That's not rocket science. That is organization. There is student loan for every child that wants to go to an institution in England, and they pay after they get a job. That is not rocket science. That's a plan. Hospitals abroad are the best places to be.
So you don't blame the people?
The people are helpless. It is the leadership, the elite.
But in some other climes, there have been places where people said enough is enough.
Because in the first, those are the days of revolution. In Russia, against the Tsars, in France, against the king. But we have come into democracy. And societies in those climes, the elite have agreed that we will preemptively provide the basics of the people. Housing in England, 18 years, you get a housing. You are paying interest for 30 years. It's preemptive giving. We need to preemptively give our people the basics. There are bus shelters in Akure, there are no buses. That's a crime. How do you want it to move from one area to another?
How do you think that narrative can be turned around?
No, like I said, compassion. What they're doing there that is attracting all of us to go to England and America is that everything that the government is doing is about how does it
takes me back to my last question. Do you think the people really understand this? To put in those who can do that, who can bring about that change?
I did say to you that the people have been impoverished to the extent that money is now the one. I mean, somebody came to me and said, send rice. I'm not going to send rice. It's an insult to our people. To sit in Akure and put 1 kilo of bag and start giving people all over the states. People say that is the way. I say I won't do that. It's an insult. You didn't feed them in 4 years. Now you are looking for election, you are sending rice to them. Our people are not hungry. They may not be full. So, indeed, yes, the people have a blame. But the bigger blame is the elite and the political class that continues to impoverish our people so that for 2,000 naira they will sell their conscience. Now, listen, you tell me, will the people be able then to allow the right person to come in? With the right soundbite, with the right door-to-door campaign? They may not today, but they will ultimately. And we cannot, because they are not hearing, stop telling them. And like I tell everybody, look, it's not me that will vote Dapo Adelegan into governance. It's not me that will vote my competitors. It's your choice. They can give you money, you can take it and vote your conscience. If you want change. It's about your future. Your students are home, no school. School fees that are ever reduced. A level 10 officer in Ondo State 60,000. When school fees was 200, he couldn't. When it's 120, he can't even send a child to school. We will provide student loan to ensure that a fast track from poverty to prosperity is allowed for.
As done in civilized class.
Civilized society, and ensure that we make responsible our students to focus on their studies, knowing that, and if they come out with good grades, we'll employ them into the system. For those that are challenged, we'll help them with create employment centers, job centers, retrain them, and assist them in getting jobs. That is the responsibility of government. If a prime minister this morning of Britain will be talking about GCE examination of school students.
So, talking about education, do you think, with what you've seen, especially the tertiary institutions, do you think the kind of education the people are getting now it is enough to prepare them for after school?
I've been giving a lecture for the last 20 years called Life in the 21st Century.
Yeah.
And it speaks to realities of this century. But while I was still watching, COVID-19 came. And it's authenticated one major pillar of life in the 21st century. It's going to be a robotic century. It's going to be driven by the role of man in the midst of production will be greatly diminished. Technology will drive it. A couple of banks, a bank MD was telling me recently that since the COVID-19, their capex, that's the operational expenses, has reduced by 80%, and their profit has moved to 24-25%. On less than a third of the staff, or less than a third of their branches, because of technology. So we have gone into an area where it is going to be a jobless century. Customers, not job, will be the slogan. The skill sets and ability that our children will need to become employers of labor will be critical. That's why if we come in, apart from student loan for tertiary education, we'll move a lot of money into vocational and technical education. And we'll provide grants for the graduates of these institutions to be able to set up small businesses so they can employ other people. Then technology will be at the core. And
are you looking at that over some of the things that are being taught in schools?
No, like I said, the moment, say for example, our student loan for tertiary is only available for students doing STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine, agriculture. 80% of the students will fill those courses. And that means that you're moving more capacity into areas where we need. If you're going to industrialize Ondo State, for example, invite mining industry from Australia to come to Akoko, to come and mine our marble, our granites, and our gemstones, without an institution that has mining as a center of excellence. No international organization will come into Ondo State. So one of our priorities is that we're going to create additional University of Science and Technology to ensure that each central district has an institution focused on developing skills that are essential to the industries that will need to exploit the opportunities in those places. So there will be an holistic review of education. South Korea spent 70% of its education budget on technical vocational education. It has given us LG, Samsung, Kia, Hyundai, and so on and so forth. So that is what we're going to do, because we need to invite oil industries into the south part of the country, maritime industry into our ports, fisheries. So that means that our University of Science and Tech in the south must of necessity be a center of learning for marine engineering, for aquatic engineering, and for oil and gas. So we will review our educational infrastructure, our curriculum, to ensure that what we have in each of these institutions across the 3 central districts are relevant to the opportunities for industrializations in those central districts.
What would you say to, because this is not the first time I'll be speaking with politicians like you, but sometimes you come out of the studio and you get calls from people, members of the Republic, and say, oh, it's all talk. That we've seen people before talk in the same manner. What would you say to people like that?
Well, what I would say to you is this: talk is cheap.
Yeah, it is.
But you need to find out what are the credentials and incidents of the person that is speaking. With all sense of humility, I've been in business for 33 years, self-employed.
I went through your CV.
Yes, and I've managed some of the biggest business in the country. I was
president of the
Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce for 3 years. And some of the, from Shell to Dangote, were institutions under my chamber. I still sit today as a council member of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce. That's the biggest business chamber in Africa. And I'm the chairman of the Investment, Trade and Industry Committee of both the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, where I was president, and the list of directors. So I'm speaking from a point of knowledge. I'm speaking from a point of capacity. I'm speaking from a point of competence and network and the capacity. Now, God willing, if we are given the opportunities around the state, I can assure you that the mere fact of our emergence will bring the entire business community, even Dangote, looking back at Ondo State, because they know that they have an economic manager on the seat of governance.
Now, as someone who lost his father at the tender age of 11, and you had to make do with your mother, I think she was into catering at that time. You must agree with me that there are so many women like that, widows who have kids to take care of, and oftentimes government says, oh, we have grant for them. But you and I know what goes into getting some of this grant, how difficult it is for those who may not know anybody in government. Should you get elected, what are the plans that you have for women like this?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, and it's quite emotional, because this Friday we'll be celebrating my father's 46th memorial. So that means that literally I grew up with my mom, and I thank God for her life. She was 80 in August 5, and her passion and entrepreneurship, because she infected me. We as a firstborn, by the age of 11, I was her husband, I was her partner, and so on and so forth, and I thank God for that. We are the only candidate, we are the only party in the state that has a female deputy governor. That underscores the importance we place to the place of women in the society. My party chairman is also a woman, so I'm surrounded by women. But the reality is that the place of women is critical. When we talk of student loan, it is the women that will be the first beneficiaries, because their greatest challenge is the education of their children, the well-being of children. We want to affect them in the areas of health, in the areas of education and social welfare. You see, when society is properly organized, women are the biggest beneficiaries. Their husbands go out and they come back with income to take care of the family. Their children leave university and they can get a job. So the totality of a woman's life is around the children and the comfort of the family. Where there are no jobs and there's no income for the husband, the woman is destabilized. Where the children cannot pay school fees, the woman is destabilized. Where they even come out of school and they can't get a job, the woman's world is turned around. So in essence, our social welfare strategy is coming from the mind of understanding the challenges that our women go through and the burden that they carry for the family, to ensure that we put an organized society in place. Look, I tell people, life is about organization. The capacity to organize, to put things in place at the right time. The optics that come from Ondo State, like I said, in terms of noise, is that we're politically volatile state. We need to change that. We need to become an economically active state, not politically volatile. Because investors do not bring money, do not bring investment into an environment of volatility. It is only if it's peaceful. And don't forget, women are the ones that are most affected by the issues of insecurity. So women are very much into our focus. By the virtue of being the only party with a female deputy governor, it underscores the importance we place on the role and the place of women, and everything we're doing. Like I said, policy formulation, if it's anchored around compassion, is women-centric.
Now let's talk about young people. We live in an age where a lot of youth's energy are being misdirected. People are into cyber fraud, a lot of things. Should you get elected, what are your plans? Apart from, you mentioned agriculture, you mentioned loans for students and all of that. What are plans do you have for young people?
Okay, well, two things basically. One is to give our youths,
and to let them know, let me add this, to make them see that there is dignity in labor.
Okay, so the first thing to do is first to give them their future back, because their future has been taken from them. And that is to ensure that all their latent energies and capacity are harnessed, for the benefit of society and themselves. The student loan will give opportunity to our academic-minded and focused youth to achieve the highest level of education they want to, without the problem of dealing with school fees and allowances, and give them the opportunity to come in flying colors, get a job, or set up a business that allow them to pay back this loan. Number two, agriculture will be a major strategy for us to drive our youth into employment. And what do we intend to do? For the benefit of not laying down all our strategies there, but we intend to create agric economic zones around the 6 borders of Ondo State and build a society around the zones that has accommodation, that has broadband, that has processing around a particular cash crop. And then secondly, we will mount a massive public enlightenment campaign to glamorize farming, to convince our parents and our young people that as law and engineering and medicine are important, farming, as a matter of fact, I'm telling you that the richest people in the world, some of them, apart from technology entrepreneurs, they're farmers. The latest Rolls Royce, called the Corona Jeep, was built for farmers who wants to ride Rolls Royce into their farm in England. So the reality is that what we need to do is to create an enabling environment, housing, mass housing, that they can access for little mortgage for 10, 15 years, okay? Around which there are 1,000 to 2,000 hectares, give them farmland and offtake their output for the next 3 years. Create an environment where beside their farms are city centers with education, with recreation, with entertainment, okay? Housing and processing industries. Value chain, not just farming. Harvesters, transporters, processors, packagers and exporters of the product. And since we are going to give them a 3-year off-takers agreement, it means that they are guaranteed income for the first 3 years. Because we will then have our food banks, put the one we're going to put and ensure that it's sold to our people at a price where we can give food security, and then process the ones we can. Look, banana, for example. Our southern central district is one of the best post-fertile land for banana cultivation. Now, in England or America or Dubai or South Africa, if you see a typical banana in a store, the skin is as fresh as the skin of a newborn baby. But because of the absence of the right level of harvesting and transportation and warehousing, when we use cutlass to cut our bananas, the bunch with almost 100 bananas falls and acquires tribal marks because of the cracks. It's also swung into the back of trucks. Another time was so by the time it gets to the storage, it has 12 tribal marks. Nobody can export. The banana alone is $1.6 billion per annum in Europe. And most of it comes from Africa, West Africa, and Southern America. But we are not part of that income because we do not have the right kind of value chain technology that helps us cultivate and sort of harvest our banana, transport them with the right way, store them in refrigerated storages before export. These are the things we want to do with these economic zones. And if they are located beside all the 60, Ondo State is 4.5 million population. We are surrounded by 50 million markets. So agriculture is going to be one of the strategies we're going to use to drive our youth. And it's going to be massive public enlightenment, a campaign to convince them that this is the future, that Agbeloba. And if you can do that, because agriculture is our mainstay, oil and whatever, they are there, but they form to it. But food, the world is looking for food. We can export to UAE, they want fruits, they want banana. China is looking for farmland to feed its 1.34 billion people. So you cannot fail. Look at the erosion that rice has done to states like Kebbi and other parts of the northern Nigeria, turned our farmers into billionaires. So cocoa, another cash crop of ours, is going to be energized. We will build a cocoa exchange in the new and ensure that anybody coming to buy cocoa in Ondo State comes to pay the spot market price, international market, because we will also have off-take agreement with the cocoa farmers. And we position this in Ore, where we will declare as our economic capital, while our economy remains our political capital.
Now, as someone who, when you started the Lekki Sunsplash concert in 1988, as fresh out of the university, and nobody believed in you. As someone who was able to make it and make something happen for himself, what advice will you give to the young people of Ondo State who are listening now?
Look, the truth of the matter is that the lessons I'm putting on, some people are putting on a book called Made in Nigeria, speaking of the emergence, the miracle of Lekki of 1988, and so on and so forth. And people tell me, there's no magic. First thing is critical for success, particularly as a young person, confidence. What they call the courage of conviction. Whatever comes to your mind has been put there by divine force. And if you take the step of faith, the wherewithal to transform that vision will be availed. I was a youth corper. I had no money. I was squatting with friends. And the idea came. And I began to knock on doors. And the wherewithal, it was not my money that you do. It was a recording called Polygram Record. They paid. They took me to England. They signed a contract with me. They did it. They brought the best of the Nigerian entertainment industry to put it together. I was the face of it. But it was not my work. It was the work of the Nigerian. 1 million people came. And that singular activity led to the opening up of the Lekki Peninsula. And that, for the last 3 years, everything I have become was laid on that foundation. What we call Ayabangba, the courage of conviction. The second is, I was speaking to some youth on social media week 2-3 days ago, and I told them about the principles of deferred gratification.
Yeah.
Our youths always want money first. Nobody. And
a sense of entitlement.
You don't grow like that. Polygram asked me at 25, I'd just finished reading English to go and read law Unilag. And I said, look, no gate takings. I just wanted to prove a point. I needed the money. My mother was a single mother with 4 children. She would have done well with me having. I said, no, let it be free. For the singular reason that concert was free. If it was not free, if I charged 5,000, maybe only 5,000 people would have come. 500 naira per gate fee. But because I did not ask for money, 1 million people landed on the beach. It was so impactful that no government could have ignored that opportunity, and it laid the foundation for every success thereafter. So the third one is the God factor, because a lot of our youths think going to church and whatever is no, it's personal relationship with your Creator. The God factor is critical. There's good success and there's success. The difference is the God factor. So those 3 levers are going to be my advice to our youth, to follow the courage of their conviction. Somebody says, it is the courage that gets grace of God. You can't be a timid person and God will follow you. David was not made a king because of timidity. Yeah. He was made a king simply because he challenged the Goliath. And God lent him his eyes and showed him that the physiology of God does not need spears and arrows, only round stones because it was just a giant of clay. So which giant is going to stand in front of you? It's just a giant of clay, only a mere stone. So the people that have done great things in the world, Obama was 2 years as a senator, a black man, an African, not an African American. He said, I want to become president of America. He wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. And wasn't he president? He became not only once, but twice. It's a reference point in the annals of leadership and one of the greatest black men to ever live. So the reality of life is that young people, and I see a lot of that in Akure. I mentor a club called September Club in this town. 30 young entrepreneurs.
When did that start?
Well, that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, a couple of young people will come to my house.
Because I was about asking you what you've done before.
No.
You've done so many things. What you've done for Ondo State.
I've mentored a lot of young people in Ondo State. I mean, even outside Ondo State, my first personal assistant and a mentee is Ali Baba, the billionaire comedian. So I can't even begin to mention the number of people that passed through me. But in my state, I have been nurturing 30 young entrepreneurs for the last 5 years. And I don't want to mention their names. They are doing superlatively. And I can see that even around the tech hubs that are setting up in different parts of Akure, that here we have potential Silicon Valleys. In the right government, with the right policy for youth, with the right support for technology development and incentive, and then mentorship. I can speak to them because, yes, as a youth corper, I went to entrepreneurship. It was an accident of fortune, but the Lord granted me my wish and turned it to big. But that was 33 years ago. But it has been consistent. Every other thing that I've done since then, I've had favor, I've had grace. To the extent that as the youngest Nigerian to ever become president of the biggest chamber in the country. So young people must have confidence, must be ready, courage of their conviction, must leave money as the primary objective, must see it as a means to an end, not an end by itself. And then it will come. And they will take decisions rightly when they're not putting that first. That's the principle of deferred gratification. And finally, they must be on their knees on a regular basis asking for favor.
Talking to their God. Okay, now let's talk about, because you mentioned entertainment, let's talk about entertainment and tourism. How do you think, Ondo State has a lot of tourist centers. How do you think that can be turned into revenue generating business for Ondo State?
South Africa says that 7 out of 10 investors that have invested in that country since 1994 first came as a tourist. So it means that tourism, events, conferences, exhibitions are traffic generating strategies that countries use to bring visitors to their state or country, and 10% of them, in most cases, will experience the hospitality and come back and exploit the opportunity of a business in that state. We intend to use the geography of Ondo State as the center of Nigeria in terms of economic hub and traffic. Make our experience of people traversing the 4-5 towns of Ondo State between the north and the south on a monthly basis. Make the experience beautiful, make the road journey, make security, give them stops where they can stop, have eateries, and be generally happy about their journey experience to compel them to begin to draw into our cities. We will put traffic generators in a city like Akure, between Akure and Owo, for example, because of the nearness of the airport, to ensure that we have tennis stadia, we have conference and international centers that will bring the world to Ondo State on a regular basis. We believe that for every event, every activity, every exhibition, every sport that we will put in what we're going to call Sunshine City, we will bring 10% of those people will come back, or they will go and evangelize our hospitality and the natural endowments of the state. Secondly, Idori is a potential World Heritage Site. The gliding and mountain climbing economy in Europe is over 2-3 billion a year. Manufacturers of equipment, gliders and mountaineers that go to Tibet, that go to Everest. We intend to get some of the best, tourism promotion agencies like Thomas Cook in the UK to promote Idori globally, and then begin to generate the traffic that will be coming. Now, once those people begin to come, and then they begin to go back, we begin to evangelize the value. And one of the things we want to do, probably as part of my PR, and I've done it for the country, making Nigerian exhibitions all over the world, is to project Ondo State, globalize us within months. So when you open CNN anywhere, even in China, you see Ondo open for business. We have a lot of things we want to do to to open up to the world the opportunities of Ondo State, the beauty of Ondo State, the hospitality of its people. So we will package, we will market, and we will transform Ondo State.
What's your take on the state of infrastructure in the state?
Oh yes, I mean it's a parallel state. Infrastructure is not just roads. If in a 21st century robotic economy, society with the COVID-19, the fastest thing the government must do is to give us electricity and give us broadband. Water. We're supposed to be washing our hands every 20 minutes. There's no water.
What you're saying, you just mentioned water now.
Yeah.
With the way the roads are even constructed, would you say we're doing proper planning?
No, like I said,
laying of pipes and all of that?
Look, I must tell you this, and I will not be the one to come and disparage the activities of past governors or present governors. They're doing their best. But the reality is that the best is not enough now. We're in extraordinary times. We could manage with tankers before, but now we have to wash our hand every 20 minutes. How do we do that? With pure water? Spittle? We need to get water into the pipes. We have 12 dams. If 3 are
in Ondo State.
If 3 are repaired, what in the Central District? And allow private sector operators to come and distribute the water. And put meters like we put for the NEPA. People will charge their cards because they want water and they will manage wastage. I even said during the pandemic that let the government buy tankers and put on the streets and be delivering free water to people. That is a government that is for the people, by the people, and of the people. So we can't give our template on a radio show, but we know what we need to do. The first thing to do, the second to do, to ensure that the basics, and they don't have to be highways, motorable roads, water, the basic transportation, intra-city transportation. I remember to take a bus comfortably from Ondo to Owo without any stress. Bus terminals, where you currently have farmstead garages, you call garages, inculcate the AURT into a system of training and capacity and let them run these shows. These are all possible. It is just about management capacity and planning and then implementation.
What do you think about the sector in Ondo State?
Well,
at the moment,
I have never been admitted in any hospital in Ondo State, but I've gone to our general hospitals. I've had relatives and staff employed, admitted to university, to our health institutions. There's huge room for improvement. We've done a great deal of work in the mother and child, infant mortality area, and kudos to the Governor Olusegun Mimiko, the ex-governor, and even the current governor for building on those legacies, even though they have now monetized it, and maybe not many of our people can afford it. But the general architecture of health in Ondo State needs to be reinvented. One of our plans is to bring one of our sons, a son of this soil, who is the #1 star in the medical universe in the world, Yinka Olutoi, who grew up in Japan, went to the University of Ife, from Edoani, who led a team to take a tumor out of a fetus and put it back and harvested it. Is to encourage him to take a sabbatical, to come and help our health management system. And I know that if we can attract such a talent, we will bring the entire medical world behind us. One of the sons of Akure, who is also British, is a chief inspector in the British police. He's an Aburo. And those are the kind of people we can bring in to look at our entire security architecture, to ensure that the relationship between the police, the army, and the community police and Motekun is all integrated towards a better society. So one of the things we need to do, talking about health and other issues, is attract our diaspora who have experience in best practice in this area to come in and assist us. Because we need to activate and elevate and calibrate our health system, our infrastructure, our security, our educational management to global standard. And that is, we have to attract, we can't afford it, but we can encourage them to come in and contribute their own to the fatherland. Should
you not win the election, would you be willing to share your plan with whoever wins?
Look, I've said it before. If Governor Akete had called me 2 years ago, directly himself as a senior brother, and said that, come and assist us with the economy, I will be an Akete team today. So if he has not, and every effort to engage has been rebuffed, it is incumbent on us, because we are all stakeholders in Ondo State. This is my state, as much as his. We are from the same town. I carry burdens of welfare for our people. So it is incumbent on us, as bona fide sons of this soil, to step forward where the government has not allowed capacity to come in. When I was coming to become president of Nigeria British in 2015, the governor was just assuming position. I was the president of the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce. Chibintopia Famutin from Ondo was the president of Nigeria American Chamber of Commerce. Yemi Akeju from Ijare was the president of the Institute of Directors. Amongst these three Ondo State people, 75% of the Nigerian economy was in their hands. We did, maybe tomorrow, we'll get a letter from the governor congratulating us or asking us for lunch to just dimension what we can do to assist in promoting our economic opportunities. Also, if he does that now, it's a bit late because I'm going to run. People have been rumoring I'm going to step down for X and Y.
And because we'll be hearing that your party has endorsed Bolaja.
It's a storm in a teacup. Some people are doing everything possible. INEC has released the names of those. My name is there, my deputy is there, and I'm running.
So you're good to go.
Because our people are hearing what they've not heard before. So I'm willing to cooperate with anybody as long as we move Ondo State forward. And this election is about the people of Ondo State. They must be the victor, not I, not the governor. If the people of Ondo State do not win by getting the right kind of capacity to help to transform the economy, then we will not have a society to look for tomorrow.
Now, when you look at the process, are you not bothered that one is going to play a role, a big role, whoever wins this election? I'm talking about vote buying, which is commonplace in our election.
You know, I have a problem. And the problem is the fact that the way God had shown himself to me from the age of 25 as a copper, a jobless copper, by making just my social desire for just an event and turned it into a transformating activity. The Lekki Peninsula today is the fastest growing real estate economy in Africa. I am proud that my restlessness was turned into prosperity. So, for the last 33 years, there is nothing I have done, and God be the praise, that God has not turned bigger than I can imagine. So my confidence is so assured that His will be done. So irrespective of the forces of money, of violence that are arrayed in this election, His will be done. If He grants me my wish to be able to contribute my own to transforming my state, I give glory to Him. If He says otherwise, Dapo, wait another day, I give glory to Him. But my overarching interest in politics in Ondo State is to transform the economy of my state and make life abundant for our people.
Now let's talk about the electoral by INEC. Are you satisfied with the process so far?
Well, so far so good. I think that INEC is doing its work. 80% of the time, INEC does its work. It is the politicians, the ballot stealing group, the ones that come and say, Edibo Kesebe group, they are the ones that pollute the system. And that is because they are not confident that they've either performed or they will perform. We are telling our people, collect money and vote your conscience. Vote for the future of your children. If there is no economy in this state, there will be no politics. There will be no. Even the politicians are not enjoying the fruit of politics. In Lagos, politicians have their children in cabinets. True of us. Because they've separated politics from governance. They have allowed capacity and knowledge to drive governance. It's the biggest business in the world. When a country, when a state is, a governor is earning 3-4 billion a month, if he does not have economic management capacity to leverage that formula for 40 million opportunities, then we're in disaster. So it is the choice of our people, because the people deserve the government that they get.
This is not the first time. You will not be the first politician to tell the people if they give you money, if they offer you money, take it and vote your conscience. Yes. Well, we'll still find out that people don't vote their conscience. In some instances. In fact, there are people, there are voters who will say, "What are you offering? Who is paying more?" That is who you're going to vote for.
That is true, but I've said it. If you guys go out and collect money and vote for the wrong person, you will have to live with the consequences. There's a responsibility of the people and those that are government. It's not a one-sided thing. It's a dual side. You have your responsibility. Every 4 years, you are given the right to choose who you want, either to retain the person that is there or to replace him. It's your power. If you now collect money and sell that power, then you'll have to live with the consequences. If people deserve the government that they get. But 4 years, we are given an opportunity to vote right. What is the current circumstance of our state? We have no industry, we have no jobs, we have no infrastructure. The government is trying, but these are extraordinary times. The skills that are required that to drive a technology compliant 21st century engaged society is not available to everybody. Those who have it, go and vote for them so you can benefit from it. So if you're expecting me to come and share money, I'm not going to do that. You need to vote the thing you want. If you refuse to vote Dapo Adelegan in this election, whoever you vote, you live with the consequences of that person's performance. I am only offering my gift. I'm offering my blessings. I'm offering what God has given me to my state, particularly the young people and your children, the future of this society. If you refuse, I say no. What can I do?
Let's do a bit of Yoruba because of
That's fine.
Those who may not understand English language. Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Dapo Adelegan, àwọn èèyàn tí wọ́n gbọ́ wọn lé àwọn babalájé ìyálọ́jà àwọn èèyàn wa kí ni ìdí tí ẹ fi lérò pé ó yẹ kán dìbò fún yín láti yan ibi gómìnà.
ẹ ṣe àtọkùn kò sóhun mìíràn ju pé wọ́n ní tí ọrọ̀ ajé ò bá ti sí nílùú ìlú náà ó di ahoro nìyẹn. Ondo State òun ni ló fẹ́ ní ọrọ̀ jù ní gbogbo Nàìjíríà torí tá a bá wo òkè ọya wa Northern Central District gbogbo àlùmọ́nì ayé la níbẹ̀ ohun tó fi ń ṣe cement ohun tó fi ń ṣe marble granite agriculture animal husbandry gbogbo ẹ̀ la ní tabade center àní cocoa àní cassava àní palm kernel tabade south wa omi yẹpẹrẹ epo gáàsì kábàtì ti sọ pé gbogbo ọrọ̀ ajé tó ń bọ̀ látẹ̀kọ́ lọ sí south east 10 billion lóṣooṣù ọ̀rẹ́ náà ń gbà kọjá àmú kankan ń bẹ̀ ìyẹn àtẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀gbẹ́ nìkan náà ń jẹ irú ìlú bẹ́ẹ̀ nílùú òyìnbó ọ̀rẹ́ à ń pè ní Chicago lamẹ́ríkà gbogbo ẹrù tó ń lọ láti west lọ sí east ibẹ̀ náà ti dúró ibẹ̀ náà tó máa ti dimension ẹ̀ tó wá tún distribute ohun tí a fẹ́ ṣe òun ni pé tí a bá ti débẹ̀ ọrọ̀ ajé Ondo State bí a ṣe máa ru lárugẹ bí a ṣe máa fa industries wọlé because tí ò bá sí àwọn oníṣẹ́ ńlá àwọn oníṣẹ́ kéékèèké wọn ò lè thrive lára oníṣẹ́ ńlá làwọn kéékèèké SME náà ti ń gbàgbára wọn tàbá kọ́ bíúrì kan sí Àkúrẹ́ bíúrì yẹn láàrin oṣù mọ́kànlá àákọ́ 1,000 people ní ó gbà síṣẹ́ 200 distributors across the length and breadth of the state 1,000 SME with an average of 10 staff each wọ́n máa ṣiṣẹ́ mbẹ̀ ìyẹn mi kò 2,500 direct and indirect job ní bíúrì yẹn àfùwà ọjọ́ náà yẹn fi ń kọ́ bíúrì kò tó ọdún méjì so ohun tá a fẹ́ ṣe ni pé táwọn àbádé ìfarú àwọn business men ẹ̀rọ Ondo State kò lè ṣiṣẹ́ fún àwọn tó àwọn SME kò lè sówó fún ṣiṣẹ́ láti ra nǹkan tó lọ́jà ń tà àkọ́ máa rùn pa ní gbogbo alábà máa tò síwájú alágbàká kò lè èyí tí alágbàká dé ń gbà láti Àbújá gan ó ti ń lọlẹ̀ ọjọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan ó lè ní kó sówó mọ́ kí la ṣe gbogbo ọmọ adolè wọ́n máa fi girlfriend ṣògùn owó wọ́n máa ṣe kidnapping ṣé ìyẹn ṣé òlú tó lókìkí ìlú olórúkọ ṣó ìyẹn la fẹ́ ṣe ni so ohun tí a fi wá ṣe ń bẹ̀ ní àní nǹkan míì láti wá ṣe ń bẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ti ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ọmọ bíbí Ondo State ni wá ó dẹ̀ jọ wá lójú pé gbogbo ohun tí Ọlọ́run fún wa ká wá lò ó fún ìdàgbàsókè ọrọ̀ àti ọrọ̀ ajé Ondo State.
kí ni àmọ̀ràn yín fún àwọn èèyàn tó ń sọ pé dìbò kò sóbì ẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá ti fún àwọn èèyàn lówó pé wọ́n á dìbò fún wọn.
àwọn náà mo sọ ẹgbọ́n kò yé yín o ẹni tó bá ti gba owó láti dìbò ó ti sọ ráìtì ẹ̀nù láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ ìjọba ohun tí ó ṣe fún ẹ gba owó tó bá fún yín ẹ dìbò fún ọjọ́ ọ̀la àwọn ọmọ yín kò ń ṣe ti yín mọ́ àwọn ọmọ yín ọjọ́ ọ̀la wọn nígbà tí ọtọ́ ọmọ ti ń fi girlfriend ṣògùn owó ìyẹn ju pandemic lọ pandemonium náà ń pè yẹn tí ò bá sí ọrọ̀ ajé kò lè ṣiṣẹ́ tí ò bá ṣiṣẹ́ criminality ó máa wọlé ẹ̀yin obìnrin ẹ̀yin ìyá gan ẹ̀rọ endangered wọ́n lè máa wá yín náà láti fi ṣòwò nígbà tó bá rí girlfriend mọ́ so ẹ̀jẹ̀ oyè yín dáadáa o ẹ gbà owó ẹ má ṣe ibẹ̀ kankan ẹ lọ dìbò fún ọkọ ẹ dìbò fún ADC ẹ dìbò fún wa ètò wa ni láti tún ayé àwọn ọmọ yín ṣe láti tún ọrọ̀ Ondo State ṣe láti fún àlàáfíà fáwọn ìyá obìnrin ló tọ́ mi dàgbà olóṣọwádìí ènìyàn lónìí ẹ̀yin náà ọmọ yín aṣọ́rere ohun tí ẹ kẹ́ ṣe nìyẹn.
Thank you very much, Prince Dapo Adelegan, candidate of the ADC, African Democratic Congress, in the October 10 governorship election. Thank you very much for coming.
Modupe Atokun, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, this is where we'll draw the curtain on today's edition of the Roundtable. My name is Dapo Adelegan. So have a lovely week. Thank you.
Politics is a good thing, but with the attendant intricacies and the many sound bites, it gets confusing. At Adaba 88.9 FM, it is our job to sift through the noise, helping you make sense of it all. This is why we welcome you to our world, where we help make politicians accountable to you.